Hey guys, welcome back to my course, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to optimize your Rhino to speed up your workflow. This video is sponsored by NordVPN. If you need a reliable VPN, please check out my link below this description. Alright, first thing first, I'm going to show you how to customize your pop-up toolbar. So what is a pop-up toolbar? If you click on your mouse wheel, there is a small window that will appear, and this is a pop-up toolbar. And as you can see, inside of it there is some function which I don't use it often, and I'm going to show you how to customize it and simply add your own customized function. To customize it, first of all, I'm going to create a new toolbar by simply right clicking on this empty space and select new toolbar, give a name like pop-up action, whatever, click on next, and now I'm going to select whatever action and add to my custom toolbar just to have something. It doesn't matter because we are going to modify it later. Then I can click on next, and I'm going to select both image and text and click on finish. Now we have created a new toolbar, and this is our pop-up toolbar. So what we can do with our pop-up toolbar, we can of course add our favorite function. For example, if we want to add explode, simply hold Ctrl and drag and drop on your pop-up toolbar, just like so. However, for us, we are going to use our own macros and simply input it to our pop-up toolbar. So I'm going to close these windows for the moment. And before going forward, I'm going to modify my middle button by going to our option setting and navigate to my mouse section, and here there is a setting which is the pop-up function, and it is set to this default pop-up. I'm going to click on it, and if I go either on the top or the bottom, there should be the new toolbar we just created. So I'm going to click on it and press OK. And now if you click on your mouse wheel, it should be set to your new pop-up toolbar. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to create some macros which we are going to implement onto our pop-up tool menu. And our macros button will simply help us and save us a lot of times, because there is some function that we use quite a lot, such as mirror or join function. So first of all, what is a macro? A macro is simply a combination of function in a single action. So what do I mean by that? If I come to a function right here, and let's say this ellipse diameter, and I'm going to hold Ctrl and Shift and click on this function, and here there will be a command line. And if we take a look, this function has two functions in a single action. So first of all, it runs the ellipse function, and at the same time it will run the diameter function. So if we click on this function, you can see that it runs the ellipse function and then at the same time the diameter. So this is simply a macro. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to create your own macro. Before going forward, I'm going to create a random object, let's say a cube, place it somewhere around here, and I'm going to navigate to my tool menu, then command section, macro editor. Let me grab this to the middle, and this windows is where we can create our own macro. So I'm going to create a simple mirror macro, and I'm going to start by writing an exclamation mark. The exclamation mark simply tells Rhino to stop any running command. And then what we want to create a mirror command. I'm going to type an underscore and then type mirror. So now if I run this command, it's going to tell us to select an object to mirror. I'm going to select my object, press enter. It's pretty basic right now, but let's say that when we run our macro, we want to mirror our object on the x-axis at the same time, instead of us manually selecting this option. So to do this, I'm simply going to add either X or Y and press space again and write enter to simply run our command. So now let's select our object and run this command, and as expected, we have mirror our object across the y-axis. However, there is an issue with this macro command. If we don't select nothing on our canvas and run this macro, it's simply not going to work unless you have selected your object and then run your command. So to fix this, I'm going to add a pause in between. So now if we run our command, it's going to ask us to select an object to mirror. And this is convenient whether you have something selected or not. For example, if you have selected an object and run your macro, it's still going to work and it's going to ignore this pause function. And now what we want to do is to take this macro and add it to our pop-up menu. So to do this, I'm going to come here first, right click on this empty space and navigate to this tab and find my pop-up, which is this pop-up action. Now I'm going to right click on this empty space and click on new button. Now I'm going to create a new command, and for the name of this new command, I'm going to name it mirror y-axis. I forgot an R right here, and I'm going to modify the button text and simply rename this as mirror y and x. Now I'm going to copy this text and paste it on our command section. Now we can click on the next, and here we can create a new command which will be to mirror it on the other axis, which is the X, and set it to our right click mouse button. So the Y axis was set to our left click mouse button, and this command we will set to the X axis and then rename this same thing with the button text. Now we can press next, and I'm going to select text only. Now we can see that we have our new macro button right inside our pop-up toolbar. Now we can try this function. Click on my mouse wheel, right click or left click on our new macro function, select my object, press enter. Now let's try this on the other axis. Same thing, but this time I'm pressing the left click on my mouse. Alright, now let's say that we have a gemstone and we have created a prong for our gemstone. Instead of us mirroring on a single side each time, let's say that we want to create a macro that will mirror our prong instantly on 4 sides. So I'm going to go to my tool and macro editor once again. I'm going to delete the enter command, return to a new line, run this command first. I'm going to enter a new function which is the cell last. This function will simply let Rhino knows that we want to select the last object, and let me show you what I mean by that. By simply selecting this command and run it, it's going to select, like I said, the last object that we created. And because this object is simply a children of this object, our main and first object, it means that I can do another command which is cell parents. And if I select both of them and run it, as you can see, it selects both items at the same time. And now what we want to do is to mirror those objects across the x-axis. I'm going to return, type underscore mirror, and this time we don't need a pause. We can simply mirror this across the x-axis and press enter. And now I'm going to delete this first, select my object and run this command, and as expected we have mirror our prongs across each missing side. Now we can go ahead and copy this text and create a new button. Then we can paste this command on this command line and give it a name. Yeah, whatever name you want. Let's say like mirror 4. Doesn't matter as long as you remember what this button does. And then I'm going to click on next. And for the right click option, I'm going to leave it as no command. Then I'm going to select text only and simply finish it. Now if we delete this, click on my mouse wheel, we have our new mirror 4 button, and let's try to run our new macro. And this is how we create a 4 mirror side macro. The great thing about this method is that because we have our record history on, we can select the parent object and modify it. The other object will update it at the same time. And also it doesn't matter like where your first object is positioned. For example, if we want to mirror this object across all the missing side, you can do this as well. And it will work fine. Now you have learned about how to create a macro, and you can literally create any type of macro that you want. If you want to delete some functions that you don't need, you can simply right click on this empty space, press on edit button, and delete the functions that you don't need. You can also add a separator to have your stuff a little bit organized. Now let's say that you want to create a macro that will automatically import your gemstone inside Rhino without you like navigating to your folders and drag and drop into Rhino. We can create a macro button that will do this job for us. To do this, I'm going to navigate to my macro editor once again, and I'm going to type an exclamation mark underscore import, run this command, and as you can see, it will open up a navigation folder and simply let us like find what files we want to import. But of course we don't want this step, we want to skip this part, and to skip this part I will add a minus symbol in front. Then I'm going to return to a new line, go to the folder that contains all of our gems, and then I'm going to go to this navigation tab on the top, right click it, copy the address, come back to my macro editor, and then I'm going to open up with a quotation symbol, paste the address, which is the folder that contains our gem, and I'm going to add another backslash like that and write in the gems that I want to import, which is the cushion gem.3dm, which is the name of the file, and close it with another quotation mark. And let's run this command, and that's how we successfully import a gem. And now we can create a new macro button by simply copying this macro text and do the same process like before. New command, give a name, paste your command, click on next, no command, and finish it. Now you can go ahead and try it, and also you can add more gemstones if you want. And this is like creating a gemstone library to save you some time in the future. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to create a block instance. So what does a block instance do? It simply allows us to manipulate an object, for example our gemstones for jewelry, more efficiently. It also copy, for example, these gemstones without necessarily duplicating this geometry. In other words, it makes our file lighter and reduce the memory usage and run your software smoother, especially when you have really like complex models with lots of small diamonds. So in my command line, I'm going to type block manager, and here I already have a block which is a round gem, but for you this window will be empty. And to add a block, I'm going to click on this create block definition button, and I can select my gem or add it from a selected object. Press enter, block base type 0, and give a name which is round gem. And now what we can do, we can create a macro button that will insert our round gem when we need it. So I'm going to go to my tool and macro editor, type in an exclamation mark / insert. I'm going to run this command, and as you can see, it simply pop up a window. And of course, we want to save some time. We want to skip this part, and to skip, just like before, we are going to add a minus symbol in front, and then space, quotation mark, type in the block name, which is round gem, and let's run this command. And if we take a look inside our command line, it simply inserted our round gem, which is a block instance, and now it is asking us insert as, which we can type enter. Insert point will be the position of our gems on our canvas, and most often we position it on the center of our grid, which will be 0, just like that. Press enter once again. Scale factor, which will leave it as a default. Press enter once again. Rotation angle, enter. So what does it mean? We are simply going to write all of those steps inside our macro editor. So this is the first line, inserting our block instance. Return to a new line, type enter. That's what we did when they asked us about inserting as a block. We just type it enter. Return insertion point, which is 0, and for this I'm going to type 0, 0, 0, return, enter, and enter once again. So now let's rerun this macro command, and as you can see, it did what we just wrote inside our macro editor. Now we can go ahead and create a new button. Give it a name, whatever. Press on next, and for this I'm going to select text only and finish it. And now we can run our command, and this is our new macro button. Now I'm going to show you some optional customization, which is fine on your Rhino option setting. Just type options on your command line, and here, for example, you can customize your keyboard shortcuts and assign your own shortcuts. And let's say that you want to assign a shortcuts for your pop-up menu. You can do this by simply modifying this command macro, for example. What I mean by that, let's say that you have a Gemstone Library toolbar. I'm quickly going to create one for you. And now, like I said, I want this library to show up when you press a key on your keyboard. So let's go back to our Rhino options menu. Go to keyboard, choose whatever key you want to assign this toolbar. For example, I'm going to select F8. I'm going to write my macro, which is an exclamation mark underscore pop up toolbar space, then quotation mark, and write down the name of your toolbar and close it just like so. Apply and press OK. And if you type F8, your Gemstones library will show up just like so. Of course, you can assign anything that you want. I mean any command. For example, if you want to assign a short key for quickly position your first point, you can do it by typing 0, 0, just like so. Press OK, and let's say I'm going to select a circle, center of circle. Instead of writing 0, 0, 0, 0, you can simply use your short key just like so. So this is totally optional. For me personally, I don't use any short key. I just leave it as default because I tend to forget my short key. But anyway, this is how you can set up your own customized short key. And there is more customization that you can find on the Rhino option, such as the appearance, for example. And if you go to the color section, you can change how the background looks and the overall interface. Of course, like this is up to you, and those options are totally like optional.